experiencing such a mixture of anticipation and dread. All preparations are complete for my installation. In accordance with the final dictum of the Ecumene Council, I have released myself of all remaining connections to my former station. This was not difficult. What was could never be again. We had seen to that quite thoroughly. Prior to my final journey through the Great Portal, a gathering of my fellow monitors was convened upon the Lightworkers' Crèche to distribute the final index collection. It was most unusual to have this vessel of rebirth play host to such an event. Even though Lightworker ships were the only ones still allowed slip-space permissions. Lightworkers were responsible for getting us to our places on the active facilities of the array. While all of this was in accordance with the plan, one entirely unsatisfactory breakdown remained. We had no contact with the domain. The history of all Forerunners was now lost to us. We relied upon the permanence of the domain to preserve our record of the events that led to this point. But without that record, would future civilizations know anything about us? Or only of our weapons? My fellow monitor, 049 Abject Testament, had only one comment on this before we went our separate ways.
We deserve to be forgotten.
Perhaps. Perhaps. But now, the portal opens, and through it, the familiar shape awaits. Halo. Home.
So that particular clip takes us back to, of course, the Halo installation 04, which is where these fine people met and went to war on the ring in the original Halo game. I kind of want to start off with Steve. Actually, a question for you. When you were approaching the character of the Master Chief, when you and Marty were working on that, I'm curious whether the original way you envisioned him changed over the course of developing that character.
Well, the original. When Marty first approached me, there was nothing to look at. I didn't know what he looked like, and my recollection of the conversation was that Marty described the Master Chief, and he was a man of few words. He was Clint Eastwood came to mind, and I believe that was your suggestion. He said, think of Clint Eastwood, circa for a few dollars more, and maybe a little Dirty Harry in there as well. And so that's sort of where I started with him. And it's funny now that going back and listening to some of the parts in the first game, there's always that temptation. Wow, I'd really like to do it over, knowing what I know now. But I think that's sort of the way it started. He was, you have to. The funny thing about voiceover is, at least in my opinion, is sometimes the less words you have to say, the more difficult it can be. At least it is for me, because you have to make those words count. And there's not a lot of. Not like in real life when you can sort of explain yourself. What I meant to say was, well, he doesn't get that opportunity. So that's sort of how I approached it in the beginning, and it just I think the evolution was natural, into 2 and 3.
I think we started even giving you less syllables. It was cooler to have you just say, "I won't."
Yeah.
And so you would say it, and you would try to give us a bunch of ways, and I'd say, less, perfect.
Right, yeah.
Do that for us right now, would you?
Yeah. I won't. No, really, I won't.
So dealing with the story in Halo, it's it's science fiction. So when you're approaching as an actor, everyone brings their own experiences to it. You have varying familiarity with kind of tropes of a science fiction storyline. I had a question for Jen, playing the role of Cortana in the original Halo game. Being an artificial intelligence, but also completely human in some ways. Was that difficult for you as an actor to approach that? And what were some of the challenges?
No, because it wasn't, at the time, it wasn't a big deal. It was a gig like any other gig I was doing. So I wasn't terribly scared of it. And a lot of the direction I got was, you're like the girl next door, like the best, we don't want you to be too naggy. And I saw online that Cortana was labeled as the naggy one. I was very upset by that recently. But that was most of the direction that I remember getting. And what they told me in the beginning, well, first you guys were going to make her vaguely European.
Yeah, you should do some of that.
No. Vaguely European was what they wanted. And then one of the main things they said to me was, forget about the fact that she's a computer. We don't want you to think that way because you're going to get into some weird robotic voice, and that's not what we want. So we stepped away from that very quickly, as I recall. Yes. Back me up here, Marty.
No, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Did I answer your question, or did I talk around?
We also asked her we just liked her natural voice. We were like, just be yourself. So Cortana is pretty much Jen Taylor, I think.
No.
But she says cool things like, bet you can't stick it, which I think was great. And then Master Chief says, what does he say? You're on. Oh, sorry, yeah. Yeah, why'd you do that? Bet you can't stick it, you're on. Here we go.
We're monkeys, aren't we? Bet you can't stick it.
Oh, you're on.
Next question I have is for Pete down at the end, Mr. Stacker. You, in essence, sort of speak the first line in any Halo game that was released. And I'm curious, 10 years later, what is the kind of the franchise and your experience with it over the course of that decade? What has that kind of meant to you, both personally and professionally?
Well, I just think being part of something that is actually the part of the crust of America. I mean, I know it sounds like really cliche-ish or whatever, but it really, over 10 years, to see the amount of people and the folks who are playing it, that's what's really kind of really cool. People from all over the world, man, in different languages, and everybody playing the game. To be part of that is really unique. And I've been part of a lot of cool things. I've been a very lucky guy. But this is especially cool because these are, beyond anything else, these are my friends. So for us to get to be able to play with you is especially cool. And the pictures and the art and the amount of work that goes into this by everyone involved, everybody's going to the extra level because we're into it. And the final, when everything is all brought together, makes it about the coolest damn thing I've ever been part of. So there you go. And I know that didn't answer your question.
That's way better than my question, so I think you